消息。杯子不落地，像生命历历。Hey, 大家好，阿弥陀佛。Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing? My name is Heng. Today is Saturday, March 23rd here in the Gold Coast of Queensland. The new lunar year has begun. We're into Aries. My goodness, starting the cycle again. It is Friday, the 22nd of March, back in California. We're about to continue our series on the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. Welcome, glad you are here. And Carrick is going to, who is in Maryland, is going to request Dharma for us. As we begin, I'm going to ring the bell 3 times and invite everybody to join me and make 3 half bows to the Buddha from where you're sitting, and then we'll request Dharma. Here we go. First bow. Second bow, our Wen Ji. And third bow. Here we go. All right. Now, Carrick, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead.
请大德僧听，为此法会尽切众生，请转妙法轮教导我们如何了生脱死。离苦得能，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to leave suffering and assemblies and birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sammyao sambuddhoshe.
Namo sadanto suchidoye elahadi sanmyao sanputoshye.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Okay, Mr. Lee, thank you so much for the Dharma request. We appreciate that. And it's amazing that we can have the request all the way from Maryland, and I can pick it up here in Queensland. I love that reality. So we respectfully acknowledge the Kombu-Meri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就是说，我们恭敬地承认以冈北语族的贡布马里人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有 从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民之际。All right, moving along here, we've got the bell song to conclude. Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path, which is the English for the original, which says 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报他那后德。There we go. All right, all of the preliminaries are done. And this series is, you could call it a podcast. That is to say, it's audio only. I'm not turning on my camera. So it depends on my voice to carry this series forward. And wherever you are around the world, which today, let's see, if we were to say, where are we around the world? So far, we have 72 friends online and close to 10 folks here. And our co-host and fearless coordinator, Chanyu, is in Fremont today. Our translator, Cliff, is here in the room with us, here in the Gold Coast. And Mr. Li Shanyu, is in Baltimore, who gave us our Dharma request. Just amazing. Ihuan is our co-host. She's there in Ukiah. And let's see here. Sam is here as well in the Gold Coast. So let's see here. Miss Wu is in Stockton. Amara is in Malaysia. Amara. Let's see here. Bill is in Cascade. Every week he dials in. Brian is in Campbell, our storytelling mentor. Celeste is in Hong Kong. Let's see here. Miss E is in LA. Connie's in Sunnyvale. Where else here? Jane is in Berkeley. Jane is also in San Jose. And Jason is down Silicon Valley. Jennifer's in Los Altos. Welcome back, Jennifer. Jensen is in KL. Johan is in Malaysia. All right. Justin is down in Texas. Leah's in Waterloo, Ontario. Leonie's in Wanfochang. Let's see here, or in Ukiah. Miss Lynn is in San Rafael. Liz is in New York City's Chinatown. Loy's in Singapore. Lucy is in Saratoga. Okay, Lucy, glad you're back. Okay, Miss Lu is in Liaoning. Maya is in Bay Area. Michael's in St. Petersburg, Florida, across the country. Sun Mingfang is in Taipei. Okay. Miss Long is in Mesa, Arizona. Where else? Paul is in Pinole. Peggy's in Calgary, Alberta. So Canada is well represented today. Miss Liu is in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Sue is in KL. Susan is in Hercules. All right. Susan is in LA. Tina is in Oklahoma. San Jose. Mr. Tran's in San Jose. Willie is in Virginia. Folks who would like me to know where you are, if you'll go into your Zoom ID and add your location. That helps me know. Okay, let's see. Yendo is in Pleiku, Vietnam. Welcome, glad you're there. Okay, then Chu Fufan is in Taipei. Miss Ding is in Beijing. Okay, Miss Ni is in Harbin. They're here every week. Good. Okay, Miss Liu is in Liaoning. My old eyes. I wonder if you could get Zoom to boost the size of their default font. Let's see here. Miss Tong is in Suzhou. Mr. Sung is in Beijing. Miss Chu is in Liaoning. Lots of Liaoning friends from Dongbei. Let's see here. Miss Trey is from Xi'an. Okay, excellent. All right. Beijing, Suzhou, Anhui, Suzhou, Shan, Xi, Baoji, 还有 什么地方？泉州，福建泉州。OK，吉林，安徽，北京。Let's see here，河北唐山。All right，呼和浩特，内蒙古，南京，山东，上海。Done. Lots of friends. Okay. Whew. All over the world. Now, if you would like to hear today's lecture in Chinese, we have you covered. Please go to your control bar. Let me say that in Chinese, so friends who want to do that. 如果各位你们想听一个流利的普通话的翻译，我们有办法。那个软体的右下角那个控制板有一个叫 interpretation， 你们看到那个小地球，就是你 click 在那里就可以听到 Chinese，那就方便了anyone who wants to hear Vietnamese translation, there is a link to a specific Vietnamese translation. Also, if in the future you would like to request Dharma, as Mr. Lee did today, please send an email to Yu Chen Fifi. Her email is there. We can set you up. If you want to do one language, that's great. We'll find someone to help you out with the other. Okay. What's the story? The story is, it takes us back to 1800s. It's let's see. Actually, the year is 1883. 1883. Our hero, our pilgrim, is 44 years old, and he is in the midst of his 3 steps, 1 bow pilgrimage across China. He's now heading north, going to Wutashan. He began in Nanhai, which is to say Putoshan, the South China Sea. And he began pretty auspicious. He had lots of helpers bowing with him, carrying his pack and holding big sticks of incense. He had lay people bowing along behind him, supporting him. There was food to eat. There was shelter at night. Things were looking good. Things changed. The longer his pilgrimage took, he is nowhere near civic centers, urban centers. He's even gone beyond monasteries. There's just nobody out where he is bowing. He's in the boondocks. He's in the countryside. And it's January. January in northern China, guess what? Snow. Big snowfall. Oh my goodness. The snow is falling so heavily, and there's nowhere to shelter. What do? You freeze. Simply spoken, you freeze and you starve, especially if you're a skinny monk on your own, nobody to help you, nobody to carry your bag, nobody to feed you, nobody to make offerings. What do? You suffer. 苦啊，苦啊，其大苦痛。So here he was. We saw the pictures. Let me show you the previous pictures. Here's where our monk spent the night, and the second night, and the third night. Count them: 3, 4, 5, 6 nights. And on the morning of the 7th day, when the sun finally broke through after 6 consecutive days of snowfall, what he saw was a little bit of sun, but he was so exhausted from having no food, mind you, for 6 days, and so cold that all he saw was this expanse of white. And yet, somehow, somebody came along and said, "What are you doing here? You're just freezing." "Oh, huh. Where are you from?" "From Putoshan." "Where are you going?" "Wutaishan." "Okay, that's actually where I'm just from," says a beggar who answers to the question, "What's your name?" He says, "Wen Ji. My surname is Wen. My given name is Ji." He says, "Would you like some food?" So what does he do? He brews him up a pot of zhou, of gruel, porridge. and it's huangmizhou, and it's yellow millet, yellow rice. Probably we would call it brown rice, I suspect. Might have just be some nutritious brown rice, which he just happened to have in his pack, along with some dry kindling and a fire starter and a pot. Auspicious, lucky, huh? So, my goodness, saved his life. No doubt about it, saved his life. And we can get the gist of it with Shifu's verses. What was this verse? It was, 铺地盖天学为毡，老人独卧非孤寒，知音盖者来慰问，雪中送炖黄米餐。Bedding on the ground with the sky as a roof, he used the snow as a blanket. The Venerable Master lay by himself, but was not alone in the cold. A beggar came who, quote, knew his sound and cared for the Master's health. With snow all around, he prepared a meal made of probably brown rice. Yellow rice meaning not milled, not elegant, like white rice that wealthy people enjoy. This was just the plain old, nutritious brown rice. Okay, I want to ask folks, yeah, you can probably hear the rain is falling here today. The word in Chinese is 知音. I'm going to ask folks, we want, not that one, this one, here we go. Okay. The Chinese is, here it is. 知音盖者 a here it is. Okay, literally, word for word, 知音盖者 is gai as a fourth tone, right? Gai, right. Okay, my question for you, Zhe, is 知音盖者. I think you're all hearing the rainfall. It's coming down strongly. So, new to the Chinese, if we did it word by word, would be sound or voice, knowing, beggar, we say mendicant, one. So my question is, does English have an equivalent for sound knower, voice knower, one who knows your voice? And we do. Someone, let me bring this a little closer. Someone suggested at one point that it should be soul mate, but soulmate for 知音, soulmate often sounds romantic. The one, you know, your fated spouse or partner. So that has a resonance that we don't want to have here in this case. What about life partner? What about that? What about bosom buddy? This is a colloquial translation. Special friend. What's a good, anybody online? Kindred spirit, Michael. Kindred spirit, that's probably one of the best. Kindred spirit, a voice knower. Now, it's not to be confused with arhat, meaning the Shravaka. That's not this. The story they always give is Bo Yi and Shu Qi, right? When Shifu first introduced this to us, there was a famous guqin player, we think, maybe he was playing guqin or could have been another instrument, who he would play for many audiences, and people would say, "Oh, you play so nicely, we love what you're playing." But he never felt satisfied that he was actually getting across to the audience until Shuqi showed up. And when Bo Yi would play, he would, in his mind, he would be thinking, ocean billows, the sound of the waves hitting the shore. And Shuqi would go, "Oh, that's lovely. I've never heard fingers on strings be able to play the sound of the ocean." And Bo Yi's like, "Oh, well, what about this?" And he would play, and in his mind, he was playing the sound of tall mountains with the clouds coming across at sunset with a rosy as the sun set. And Shuqi would say, "Man, I know what mountains those are. That's even that's the Pamir range." And Bo Yi's like, "Wow, this is great." And he said, "Now what about this?" And he would play with his mind, visualizing a flowing stream over the rocks. And Shuqi would say, that sounds to me just like the stream that we had behind my house when I was growing up." And Bo Yi was like, "You know my sound. You absolutely can hear my heart's voice." So that's where this phrase came about, the sound knower, the one who knows his sound. So now, what's the best English translation? Soulmate, that sounds romantic. Life partner, bosom buddy, too colloquial. Special friend, kindred spirit, I think might be the best. What else have we got here? Boya and Zhong and Ziqi. Yeah, it wasn't Shuqi, it's Ziqi. Boya, let me add that so people can look it up if you want, or maybe you've seen it before in your studies of Chinese literature. Boya, here it is, was the musician, and Ziqi was the one who when he heard Zhong Ziqi, when he heard the sound, he knew exactly what Boya was playing. So I will take kindred spirit. One who knows the sound, that's Chinglish, right? That's not a translation, that's just a... So let's plug this in now. Plug it into our story. The mendicant, beggar, sounds judgmental right away. 盖者, that's in Chinese literally what it is. But it's mendicant is someone who exists, makes their living on others' generosity. So I, myself, the nuns here in the room, we have 3 bhikshunis here, we are all mendicants. We exist entirely on others' kindness to us, their generosity. Mendicant, to say, this is one that I'm always like sensitive. People say, "Oh, you monks, have you got your begging bowl?" And the answer is, no, I don't. We never beg. We don't say, "Please give me." Kinship, okay. One, you need a verb. Someone who shares kinship. Yeah, kin with me, family with me, right? Okay, so back to mendicant. Mendicant is the best name for what Buddhist monastics are. That is to say, people who thrive on others' generosity. To say beg implies that you say, "Give me, please give me." We don't. Look at Master Empty Cloud. He didn't say a word. He was just happily dying out there, freezing to death with no food on 6 days, right? And he couldn't even move. Luckily, the mendicant, Wen Ji, showed up and had just exactly what was needed to bring Master Empty Cloud back to life. All right, so to say monks use begging bowls, we don't. The best here, this is a chance to teach this particular elegant way of saying it. We are neighbors with the monks from Abhayagiri Forest Monastery there in Ukiah. And they practice, there we go. They practice alms rounds. The Mahayana didn't do that because we were mostly out in the wilderness, and you can't take your begging bowl, can't take your alms bowl, ALMS, alms. Can't take your alms bowl out to the squirrels and the birds. So in the Chinese Mahayana, we developed our own form of farming, 自立自给, right? The day of no work is a day of no eating, says the Chan school. Well, the Theravada always put their monasteries within walking distance of the local village. And when they would show up in the morning and were prevented by the rules from saying a single word. You don't say, please give me, I'm here, feed me. Not that at all. And they can't handle money. So what do? They walk by, and everyone knows, they say this: we are here to make ourselves available should you care to practice generosity. That's the phrase. And this is the idea of what? This is the idea of the field of blessings, Sangha. The field of blessings. If you would like to support their religious life with rice or with some fruit or some vegetables or the keys to the Maserati, whatever you have, the BMW, it doesn't matter. They're welcome, they're willing to accept it so that you can plant blessings in their field. We are here to make ourselves available if you would like to practice. Totally different. Turns it around entirely. All right, that's the principle. Everybody gets it. Here we go. Back to our story. There he is. Wen Ji is planting blessings in the field of Master Empty Cloud's blessings field. Fu Tian Seng. Okay, dialogue. What happens? Master Hua says, 受苦了苦死复生 享福消福复又贫 文殊菩萨妙极智 救苦救难救痴迷 To endure suffering puts an end to suffering. Death turned into life. To squander one's blessings, on the other hand, exhaust those blessings. The rich become poor. Manjushri Bodhisattva arrived with miraculous good fortune. He rescues people from hardship and suffering, and saves them from confusion. So they had this dialogue. Where are you going? Going to Wutaishan. Oh, I've just come from there. What do they call you? He says, everybody there knows me as Wen Ji the Miserable. Ku Naozhe. All right. That brings, here they are. Here's the dialogue. They're having this conversation out there. Master Empty Cloud has now got some strength back. He's not freezing anymore. And he's such a tough nut that it didn't take a lot to revitalize him. He's been used to living all by himself in the mountains for years. Okay, today's episode. Are you ready? Here we go. The title of it is 机锋话头是什么? Asking the pointed question, what is it? Here we go. 问无太路，曰有梦现，至岱州鹅口。密摩言僧，轻易善持戒。问其源，曰2000陵。天清取雪煮粥，执斧问， 南海有这个吗？曰无。吃什么？曰水。复学融水。盖直曰是什么？公无语。默然不知所对。Okay. The master then asked about the road to Wutai Mountain. Wen Ji told him that traveling from Meng County, he would pass through Daizhou and then Arkou. There he'd find a bhikshu in Mimo cavern named Qingyi. This monk upheld the moral precepts firmly. How far is it to Wutai Mountain from here? Asked the master. 2,000 li, replied Wen Ji. At daybreak, Wen Ji took some snow to make some gruel. Pointing to the snow in the pot, he asked, does this exist in the Southern Ocean? No, replied the master. Well, then what do people drink there? They drink water, the master replied. By that time, the snow in the pot had melted into water. The beggar pointed to the pot again and said, well, what's this? The master was speechless and didn't know what to answer. Okay, take a look at the picture. Here it is. Here's our monk wearing his monk's shoes. I don't know why. I guess that's what monks have. To go 3 steps, 1 bow through the snow in these shoes. They're essentially sandals that give you no support. They fall off your feet. I don't think they're going to make it into America as the monk standard. I don't know. Hardcore monks can still wear them. He's got his wadza. These are these tall socks with elastic on the top. And he's got a handkerchief. Probably his nose is dripping in the cold. Wen Ji is here with his sturdy pot, throwing up some more shifan. And he asks him, take a look at this. Do you have this down in Putoshan? Nope, doesn't snow down there. And then he says, take a look. Do you have this? Water. Doesn't know what to say. Okay. Shifu's verse. 南海这个有也无，所吃何物水源熟？复问水是何物也？公难应对语莫如。Okay. Does this occur in Nanhai, friend, or can't you find it there? If not, then what do you drink? He continued as the water's condition changed. Tell me again, just what is in the pot? Faced with the challenge, the master couldn't say a word. Okay. Now, I confess, when I first read this, I didn't get it. And I read it again, I thought, this must be, maybe it's over my head, it's too deep. And I thought, read it again. So I read it again, and it goes, Wen Ji is obviously taking this opportunity to teach Master Empty Cloud something. 一切是考验, everything's a test. So it's the next morning, it's time for breakfast, and Wen Ji dips some snow out of the field next to the lean-to and lights the fire, and Master Empty Cloud is looking, and he says, do you have this in where you come from just now, and down in Putoshan? And Master Empty Cloud sees the snow, and says, no, nope, we don't. So he follows up and says, okay, well, what do they drink there? And Master Empty Cloud says, they drink water. And the water melts, so Wen Ji says, what about that? And Empty Cloud goes, the snow's gone, it's water. I don't know what to say. And I like, okay, wake up. Is this a test? It's a test. So I read it 3 or 4 times, and I figured Maybe I'm thinking too much. Maybe it's just as simple as that he's giving Xuyun Lecture a chance to say something to demonstrate his spiritual skill. I didn't get it. 听不懂. And then I figured maybe this is like way too deep. Is he pointing to his mind, obviously? So snow becomes water, transformation, impermanence. There's a principle being taught here. And that's why the title is what? 机锋画头. He's asking Xuyun Lecture to reflect on transition, on transformation in the mind. So that's what I think is going on. In order to understand it more deeply, I went to the source of Shifu's 200 episodes that he selected to make the picture biography, which is what? The Nianpu. Here's the original. Let's take a look. This is really interesting because we get from this, you can see what Shifu selected and what he left out and how he divided up the Nianpu, the history, his personal biography, his autobiography, in fact, to get 200 episodes. Okay, here it is. This is the section right here. The heading of this is 44 years old, the 9th year of the Guangxu reign period. Okay, this takes it back to New Year's, comes out in the last 3 episodes, and here's the dialogue. Where are you from? Nanhai, Southern Sea, Putoshan. Hequ, where are you going? I'm bowing to Wutai, going to Five Peaks Mountain. I asked Wen Ji what his name was. He said, my surname is Wen, my name is Ji, lucky, auspicious. And Manjushri is Wen Shu Shi Li Miao Ji. So when I read this, I thought, Manjushri. And somehow Master Empty Cloud didn't jump to it. You keep thinking, this is Manjushri, don't you see it? Like, okay, Wen Shu Shi Li, Manjushri, Miao Ji Xiang, Wen Ji. And they call me Wen Ji the Miserable. Kunao, Wen Ji Kunao, is not in this, not in the Nianpu. Shifu added that. Where are you going? Wang He Chu, 来自 Wutai. I myself am coming from Wutai, and I'm going to Chang'an. I'm going to the capital city. Oh, since you're from Wutai, 四正有来往法. Do you go to is there monasteries there? He says, 人皆识我. Everybody knows me, says Manjushri in disguise. Question. Okay, since you're going to Wutai, he said, I hope you can take me there. We're going there. So how do we get there? So he says, you go from Meng County to Huaiqing and Yellow Sands Peak and Xinzhou and Taigu and Taiyuan, that's the city, Taiyuansheng in Shanxi, Daizhou, Ekou, you go past all these places, then you get to Wutaishan, and you have to go past the Demon Peak, secret, let's see here, Dao, Mi, Secret Demon Peak, or Hidden Demon's Peak. 四处有南方僧. There's a monk here from the south whose name is Qingyi. He is a really good cultivator. Xing Shi Shenhao. He's a really good cultivator. So Yuan, I asked him, how far is it to the mountain from there? 2,000 Chinese miles. So he's got that much distance to cover. So, okay, next morning, at this point it was dark, so they went to sleep. Next morning, the mendicant again brewed up some, in order to brew up some brown rice gruel, 驱血带水, grabbed some snow to replace the water. And there it was in the pot, the snow in the pot. And the mendicant said, have you got this in Putoshan, South Ocean, have this or not? I said, oh, nope, don't have this. The beggar responded, what do you eat? 吃, he didn't say 喝, interesting. What do you eat? He didn't say drink. My answer was, we eat water. We 吃水, not 喝水. So 吃probably works for both liquid and solid food. 腹中雪润后, the snow had now melted at this point in the hot pot. 盖着腹中水也. So I pointed out the water in the pot. He pointed out the water in the pot and said, what's this? I didn't know what to say. Does it work for you? Do you get it? Anybody enlightened instantly? Right? Okay. The guy said, so the beggar said, 你拜名山何求? Okay, that's catches us up to speed. Are we ready for episode 53? Here we go. Ready. 恢复精神再拜香. His energy resumes and he starts to bow again. Ready? Here it is. 问拜名山何求？曰生不见母，永报亲恩。曰复姓离路远，天寒何时能达？劝你不必拜香了。公曰：誓愿早定，不问年月远近。盖曰：难得。现无路可寻，向我来祖迹行吧。又小金山孟州，随一别。Okay. Wen Ji said, why are you making this pilgrimage to the sacred Wu Tai Shan? I said, Master, this is Shifu saying about him. In the Nianpu, it's I. Here it's Shifu referring to him. The Master said, I never saw my mother's face, so I'm bowing to repay her kindness in giving birth to me. Tragic, that's a sad story, but it's true, right? Master Wen Ji says, you're carrying a pack, the road is long, the weather's freezing cold. You think you can get there? I encourage you to quit. You really shouldn't continue, he says. Everything's a test, right? Elbow, elbow, nudge, nudge. The Master answered, my vows have long ago been set. I don't care how far or when I get there. Test passed, passes the test. Wen Ji says, wow, your willpower is really extraordinary. Good for you. Okay, since the roads are blocked at present, why don't you follow my footprints in the snow? They'll take you past Little Jinshan, and we'll make sure you get there. You won't get lost, you won't die. They took their leave. Away they go. Right? Very, very cool. So, it is a test. And this is probably as big a, so the dialogue that we heard, that's called, by the way, that's called Chanji, Chan banter. In the Zen world, that's called Dharma combat, what we just saw and just heard, where they really test each other's attachment. In the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, there's this famous encounter with the Sixth Patriarch and Master Xuyun from for the Zhengdao Ge. That was an example of the kind of thing that Chan monks do when they test each other. And in that case, Master Wen Ji won, right? Master Empty Cloud had nothing, no response. But when he really tests his heart, and he says, this is just too tough. This is really hard. I recommend you stay. You quit. Just go home. Master Empty Cloud says, nope, not going to do it. I've got debt to repay to my mom. My original purpose was 报母亲恩, to repay my mother's kindness. And interesting, we know the backstory of Master Empty Cloud's relationship with his father, which was really contentious. The dad just was so let down by his son's decision to become a monk. He, in the early parts of the biography, the details come out how the Master Empty Cloud, as a young man, his surname was Xiao, same surname as Liang Wudi, interestingly enough, the emperor, the martial emperor of Liang. So early on, Master Empty Cloud showed a deep interest in Buddhist sutras and in Taoist stuff. So what the dad did, he hired a Taoist teacher to come and instruct his son in Taoist principles, which allows him to get married and stay partly in the world. Master Empty Cloud thought, no thanks, this is not ultimate. I don't want to stay in my body, I want to leave, I want to transform and save living beings. So, of course, the dad was like super upset. And then the son runs away. And the father sends out, hired servants to bring him back. And they find him out in the mountains and bring him back. And then dad says, I'm going to give you 2 wives, marry you, so you have to stay in the world. And a good Confucian son doesn't say no to the father in that situation. So he marries, but he makes a pact with his 2 fiancées that when they're married, he's not going to engage in married conduct. He's going to allow them to stay as his wives. So the protection of the family is there. But he himself is going to stay pure and go leave home. And they're in on the plot, and he runs away again. And his father is really, really unhappy because there are lots of issues, First of all, he lost his wife. It's Master Empty Cloud's mom, but it's dad's wife, so his heart is broken. And this was his second wife. His first wife died. So, earlier. So, a lot of heartbreak for the father. And Master Empty Cloud is not mentioning his dad here, but clearly the repaying kindness, he's thinking of his father, indeed, as he makes this pilgrimage. And although it's not a happy relationship, interestingly enough, if Master Empty Cloud had gone on to become an official, if he'd taken the test, this was the generation when the examination system was still very much in place. Our Shifu, Master Xuanhua, was the last generation before the Republic when the examination system was just switching, something that had powered and structured Chinese society for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So that last generation for the examination system. Had Master Empty Cloud gone ahead and become a Jinshi or a Xiucai or a Zhuangyuan, any of the ranks that he could have tested, probably the Xiao family would have been maybe famous in a small area, but not well known. By leaving home and becoming the world-renowned Master Empty Cloud, in fact, he brought more honor to the family, giving, here we are, it's 2024, we're in Australia telling his story. So it's interesting how by leaving home and actually repaying his mother's kindness in this way, he became known as a filial son, as an exemplar of filiality. So parents, those of you who think, oh, you know, my daughter left home to become a Buddhist nun, what a loss, I'm a loser, just wait. There's a real good chance that your daughter is going to repay your kindness in ways you can't even imagine. So we'll see. That is really the case. That when, what do they say? Ultimately, they say, 一族得道, 一子得道, 九祖升天. When even one child can leave home, 9 generations of ancestors get reborn in the heavens because of the blessings. So, yeah, often it's what's real is invisible, and the things you see are the things that the marketplace world celebrates are not necessarily the lasting values that really matter. So let's take a look. What have we got here? 百折不挠 铁石金 举世无比杀成金 祈报亲恩语不虚 三步一拜又启程 Shifu's verses are so good. Fate's many challenges did not deter him. His resolve was made of iron, unequaled in the entire world, like gold dust in the sand. To repay his parents' kindness, nothing else mattered. With every 3 steps he bowed to the ground, his pilgrimage resumed, even in the snow. Talk about tough, boy oh boy, Master Empty Cloud. There's actually he was known as Zhongmen Taidou, they call him. He's the North Star of the Chan school for several hundred years. He took all 5 of the Chan schools, the schools within the Chan school, and brought them together in a single person, and then let them go out again into the world. And we, through Master Xuyun Hua, through Shifu, we got the Weiyang Zong. There's a list of the, how many is it? The 10 life-threatening crises of Master Empty Cloud, or was it 12? How many is it? Somebody knows. I'm sure Yi Huan knows the answer. It's 虚老和尚多少难 12难 10难 忘了 Somebody knows. It's people kept track of the incredible crises that came to Master Empty Cloud. In fact, as they call him an 8-stage bodhisattva because of the details of his birth and everything that he did in his life, but his challenges were so many. He went to Penang in Malaysia to Jilo Si and had an illness that nearly took his life. He traveled to Tibet on foot and nearly died. He had guns. He encountered Republican Army, Gonghe the Kuomintang soldiers leveled their guns at him and tell him to stop or they would shoot. And he wound up taking them across and making disciples out of them. He was encountered, animals and bandits, and with his virtue, he subdued them all one by one by one. So there's I'll see if I can find it this week. There's a list, which is called 虚老和尚好像12重难, the heavy challenges for Master Empty Cloud. So this reality of the how when men and women are able to leave the home life and find the right dharma, the values of the marketplace seem to melt away, and the truth of the nature, the principles of the nature emerge. my poor mother, Debbie Metcalf, when I left home, she wanted me to be a state senator. If I'd been a state senator, she would have been satisfied, or maybe mayor of a medium-sized city or something. I was into politics in high school, and she thought that was a suitable métier for me. Let's see here. Right. And so when I became a Buddhist monk, she was very, very unhappy. And she even cried, and all of her friends, the mothers of my classmates through high school and college, said, "Oh, poor Debbie, her son Christopher went out to Berkeley, California and just left the planet. He probably wound up somewhere on Mars, like all those people in Berkeley." And she was very bitter. And then worse, when I started my pilgrimage, I made a vow of silence, which she could explain even less. Why does my son not talk to me? Why doesn't he write me letters? Why, blah, blah. And she thought Master Hua had probably slipped something into my teacup that made me behave so strangely. No other way to explain it. And all her friends, "Oh, poor Debbie, What could she say? So then, after she came out to the city of 10,000 Buddhas and met Master Xuyun Hua in person, and in one night, Shifu took my mother out in his golf cart and talked to her. And the next morning, we met in the big kitchen that we used to still use back then. We've now closed off the big kitchen, but it was used during the opening of City of 10,000 Buddhas, the grand opening, 1979. And my mother was there, and she said, "Now, don't talk," she said. "I want you to keep your vow," she said. Like, this is my mother? And she said, your teacher is really remarkable," she said. I don't think I've ever met somebody who has wisdom," she said. And that's not a word in my mother's vocabulary, that she didn't use the word wisdom. She said, "He's really wise." She said, and she said, "I think he thinks he speaks better English than he actually does, but I could still understand him. It was amazing. And you know what he said to me?" And I'm like nodding my head, because I can't talk. I'm nodding, "No, what did you say, Mom?" And he said, "You think that I took your son?" She said, "In fact, he said, you took my disciple," he said. "Your son has followed me for life after life," he said. "What do you suppose he meant by that?" she said. So she said, "That's all right." And then he told me that I need to cultivate myself. I don't quite understand him, but somehow I did. And then he gave me these. And she held up a string of recitation beads. And she said, I think I'll use them. "That's very interesting," she said. "So don't talk, and you have to cultivate too." So it's like in one golf cart ride, Master Hua just totally turned my mother's situation around. So, all right, there we go. Thank you all for joining for this hour. We'll continue. Master Empty Cloud is not done with the snow. There's a lot of heartbreak coming up ahead, so make sure you come back next week for the next part of this amazing story. Master Empty Clouds, 3 steps, 1 bow. Here we go. Can you make a wish? Send off your goodness. Share it with the world as far as your mind can go. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And then we will bow to the Buddhas, and that will do it for us for this week. Here we go. Make 3 bows right from where you're sitting. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, see you all next week, everyone. Amitofo. Bye now.